You are standing at the bottom of a moon pool. The water below your boots is black. Not dark black, the way a well is black when you drop a coin and never hear it land. Your umbilical, the line that feeds you breathing gas, hot water, comms, and a video feed to a surface you will not see for 28 days, is clipped to your harness. It weighs 11 kilograms. It is the only thing keeping you alive. A voice in your helmet says, "Diver 1, you are clear to lock out." You step off the edge. The water does not splash. It swallows.
Help me!
You are 19.
Please help me!
You are sitting in a classroom in a commercial diving school in the Gulf Coast, Houston, or Morgan City, or one of the small towns between them where the air smells like diesel and shrimp. The instructor is a man in his 50s with hearing aids in both ears and a left hand missing 2 fingers. He does not explain how he lost the fingers. He holds up a dive table, a laminated chart of numbers, and tells you that every minute you spend at depth, your body absorbs gas into your blood and tissues. Nitrogen at shallow depth, helium deeper. If you come up too fast, that gas forms bubbles inside your joints, inside your spinal cord, inside your brain, the bends. He tells you that at mild depth, the bends mean pain. At significant depth, the bends mean you never walk again. He puts down the dive table and picks up a photograph of a man in a wheelchair. The man in the photograph is 26. "That's me," the instructor says, "at 40 meters, 1 bad ascent." The classroom gets quiet. Nobody drops the course. That is the first test, not whether you're scared, whether you stay anyway. Level 1, the trainee. You are 21. You are certified. You are working inland, bridges, dams, intake pipes. 30 meters is deep for you. The water is cold and brown and you cannot see your own hands. You work by feel, cutting, welding, inspecting. Your gloves are thick neoprene and your fingers go numb after 20 minutes. You learn to read a bolt head with the pads of your thumbs, the way a locksmith reads a tumbler. You are paid $300 a day. More than your friends who went to college. You tell yourself this matters. You spend 12 hours on a barge in January in the North Sea, and the only warm thing is the coffee that tastes like rust and the piss in your wetsuit. Nobody talks about the piss. Everyone does it. It is the first of many things you will learn are normal that would make a civilian stare. You do this for 3 years. You earn a reputation. You are the one who does not panic. Not because you are brave, because panic at depth kills, and you have seen what killing looks like. A diver named Travis on a job in the Gulf lost his primary gas supply at 28 meters. His bailout valve was jammed. He had 90 seconds of air in his helmet. He panicked. He shot to the surface. The bends folded him in half on the deck. He is alive. He uses a catheter. You were on that job. You heard his breathing on the comms, the sound a person makes when the math says dead and the body disagrees. You heard it for 90 seconds. You hear it sometimes on quiet nights, not often, just when it is very quiet. Level 2, the chamber. You are 24. A diving superintendent who has watched your work for 3 years says, "There's a spot on the next SAT rotation. You want in?" Saturation diving. The word sounds clinical, like a chemistry term. It means this: they pressurize you to the same pressure as the ocean floor and keep you there for weeks. Your body reaches equilibrium, the gas in your tissues matches the gas outside. You can work at depth as long as you want. The only decompression happens once, at the end. 5 to 7 days of slowly reducing pressure. 28 days at depth, 7 days coming back, 35 days total, 1 paycheck. You enter the chamber on a Monday morning. The pressurization takes 12 to 24 hours. During this time, your lungs fill with heliox, a helium-oxygen mixture that replaces nitrogen because nitrogen becomes narcotic at depth. Helium is not narcotic. Helium is worse in other ways. It conducts heat 6 times faster than air. You are cold, constantly, achingly cold. The chamber is kept at 30 degrees Celsius, 86 Fahrenheit, but it feels like 15. You wear fleece and thick socks and a wool hat, and you are still cold. Your bones feel cold, your teeth feel cold, and your voice rises 2 octaves. You sound like a cartoon character. The first time, everyone laughs. On day 14, when you're trying to tell the life support technician that the oxygen percentage smells wrong and your voice comes out as a chipmunk squeak, and the technician asks you to repeat because the unscrambler is broken, nobody laughs. This is the sound of 300 meters of water pressing on every molecule of gas in your chest. It is not funny. It is the sound of the ocean reminding you where you are. The chamber is a steel cylinder, 2 meters wide, 12 meters long. Bunks, a toilet behind a curtain, a table, a television that plays whatever DVDs the last crew left. No internet, no phone. Communication with the surface happens through a speaker. The life support technician, the person monitoring your oxygen, CO2, and pressure from outside, works 12-hour shifts. If the oxygen drops 2%, you lose consciousness. If it rises 2%, you seize. The margin between alive and dead is 4% of one gas in a steel tube. You trust this person with your life. You have not met him. He started last month. The food comes through a medical lock, a small airlock that equalizes pressure before opening. The food tastes wrong. Not bad, wrong. Helium strips the flavor from everything. Sweet tastes flat. Salt barely registers. By day 10, you are putting hot sauce on everything, not for taste, but for the burn. The burn is the only thing that still feels real. The bell. This is what they call the diving bell, a spherical, pressurized capsule that lowers you from the chamber to the work site. You climb through a trunk, a connecting passage, from the chamber into the bell. The bell is sealed. It descends through the moon pool on a crane. 100 meters, 200, 300, 45 minutes. You watch the depth gauge. You feel nothing. The pressure inside the bell already matches the pressure outside. When it reaches the bottom, you open a hatch in the floor. Below you is the ocean. Your helmet light reaches 3 meters ahead. Beyond that, gone. Not dark, gone. The light does not fade into distance. It stops like a wall. You clip your umbilical and step out, into it. The work is welding, cutting, inspecting anodes on a pipeline, tightening bolts on a Christmas tree, the valve assembly on a subsea wellhead. Each task would take 20 minutes on the surface. Down here, it takes 2 hours. Your gloves are thick, your fingers are numb even with hot water pumped through your suit. The current shoves you sideways. The silk clouds everything whenever you move. You work by feel. After 5 years of this, your fingers know the shape of every flange, every bolt head, every gasket groove. You do not think about the work. The work happens in the space between your thumbs and the steel. Your brain is elsewhere, monitoring the umbilical tension, listening for the hiss that means a seal is compromised, counting your own breathing rate because the surface monitors sometimes lag. The Byford Dolphin. Every saturation diver knows this name the way every pilot knows Tenerife. November 5th, 1983. A diving support vessel in the North Sea. A bell was being disconnected from the chamber system. A trunk, the connecting passage, was opened before the chamber was fully sealed. The pressure inside the chamber was 9 atmospheres. The pressure outside was 1. The gas found the opening. 9 atmospheres equalized in a fraction of a second. 4 divers in the chamber died from explosive decompression. The 5th, the tender operating the clamp, was killed by the force of the trunk as it blew open. 1 man was forced through an opening 60 centimeters wide. The autopsy report uses language that no settlement amount can make acceptable. A single human error. A clamp opened 1 second too soon. The industry added safety interlocks. You read the report in dive school. You remember the page. You think about it every time you hear the clamp engage between the bell and the chamber. Not every time you think about it, every time you hear it. The sound of the clamp is the sound of the margin between your body and physics. Click. You are alive. 1 second earlier, you are a page in a report. Level 4. 300 meters. You are 29. You are one of roughly 300 to 400 active saturation divers in the world. The industry does not publish the exact number. Your clients are oil companies and pipeline operators. They need you because ROVs, remotely operated vehicles, handle most of the work now, but there are still tasks that require a judgment call in zero visibility. A weld that needs to feel right, not just look right on a screen. You are paid $1,500 a day for your judgment. The companies call it the human factor. You are standing on a pipeline at 300 meters and your helmet light dies. Total darkness. Not the darkness of a room with the lights off, the darkness of a place where light has never been. You wait. The surface troubleshoots the connection. 2 minutes. 3. The light comes back on. You continue working. The debrief form asks, any incidents? You check, no. 3 minutes of total darkness at 31 atmospheres is not an incident. It is a Tuesday. You are 34. You have been doing this for 13 years. Your left ear rings constantly, a high-pitched tone, like a radiator in winter, consistent with repeated hyperbaric exposure. Your knees ache after every pressurization cycle. The industry medical exam clears you each year. The threshold for disqualification is generous. The supply of qualified SAT divers is small, and the demand is steady. You pass. You will always pass. Between rotations, you live in an apartment you barely recognize. No wife, you had one, briefly, but 28 days on and 28 off is not a rhythm a marriage survives. She left on day 11 of your third rotation. You found out on day 29 when you stepped out of the chamber and checked your phone. You did not call her. You sat in the sun for 10 minutes, felt the weight of surface pressure on your skin. How strange that one atmosphere could feel so light, and went to sleep. 3 days later, you were pacing, checking your email for the next rotation. The apartment has a kitchen you have never cooked in. The refrigerator hums. It is the loudest thing you have heard in 3 days, and you hate it, because at depth, the hum of the life support system is the sound of being alive, and this hum means nothing. The decompression, day 29. The work is done. The bell brings you back into the chamber for the last time. The life support technician begins reducing pressure, 1.5 meters of seawater per hour, 5 to 7 days. During decompression, you do nothing. You sit. You watch the same DVDs. You play cards. You feel the gas leaving. Not a sensation you can name, but a lightness that builds over days, like a coat being lifted off your shoulders one thread at a time. On day 35, the pressure reaches surface level. The hatch opens. Sunlight. Actual, unmetered, unmonitored air. You step out. Your legs are unsteady, not from weakness, but from the absence of what you were carrying. 31 atmospheres, gone. Your body weighs the same. Nothing weighs the same. Why they go back? $1,500 a day is the answer that fits on a tax form, but you have met divers who inherited money and still go back. You have met a diver who had a seizure at 200 meters from an oxygen spike and was pulled into the bell unconscious and was back in the rotation 3 months later. The money is real. The money is not the reason. The reason is the 3 meters of light. When you step out of the bell at 300 meters and your helmet cuts a circle into the black, that circle is the only space in the world. There is no news, no phone, no noise. There is a pipeline and a wrench and the shape of a bolt under your thumb. At 300 meters, you are not a man with a ringing ear and an empty apartment and a medical waiver the industry pretends is optional. You are a pair of hands doing the only thing that matters. That clarity, that pressurized, total, annihilating clarity is not on the job listing. It is the thing that brings them back. The ocean does not care about your name, your credit score, your failed marriage. The ocean cares about the seal on your helmet and the strength of your grip. That is the deal. You have taken it every year for 13 years. You will take it again. Somewhere, right now, A 19-year-old is sitting in a classroom in Morgan City staring at a photograph of a man in a wheelchair. The instructor is telling him about gas bubbles and dive tables and the margin between pressure and bone. The kid is scared. He stays anyway. In 5 years, he will step out of a bell at 300 meters and see 3 meters of light and nothing else. He will understand. He will not be able to explain it. Nobody can. That is the point. That is the entire point.